Hello, hello, hello. Can you all see and hear me okay? If you can, you know the drill. In the chat room, go ahead and put, yep, Kelly's on it. I love it. You guys are great. Thank you so much for being with me at this kind of first back to school virtual happy hour. We're going to start our learning series. I got a whole bunch of events kind of coming up over the next kind of 6 weeks. And I just want you to know I consider it a huge privilege that you made it, that I'm able to be in front of you and teaching. And I'm so grateful that you're here. Hopefully, you've got your drink. Boston Rob, I could see you guys are from all over the country. So let's get rolling. I know you can see my screen, hopefully. And let's talk about becoming a vacation rental design expert. What does that mean for you? And what am I going to go over? Who is this for? First off, you know you're in the right place. If you are a new stager or interior designer, even if you're thinking about getting into the industry, if you maybe have some of your own rentals and you're thinking, I really love designing my own rentals, maybe I can actually do this. Maybe you're a veteran stager and designer and you're thinking you might want to pivot or expand your services. And even my design enthusiasts will love it because if you like to hear inspirational stories and see photos that go from this to this, you are in the right place. I love it. I love it. I can tell I have a very active group. And by the way, this is my sister's work I like to showcase. She and I started our first staging business way back when, and she's still doing it. So what you will learn. Okay, you can all hear me, I'm assuming. So it's only one can't. Okay. Understanding the short-term rental market. Before you can start tackling and figuring out the design section of that, we really need to understand what this market looks like, what it is, how we can approach it, why this market needs you. I love to show some critical statistics, how adding this lucrative service really benefits your business, especially if you have a current design or staging business, how to get started. I'm going to walk you through some steps. Trade and retail shopping and design hot tips. It's a little bit different than what you're used to as a designer and stager, if that's what you are. How to crush this service and make lots of money. I'm assuming we all would really like to do that. The easiest way to market. And if I give you lots of good information on how to kind of launch this service or get into Airbnb design, is it okay if I walk you through and tell you a little bit about my Airbnb, my vacation rental design course and give you a special? And if that's okay, go ahead in the chat and put yes. Thank you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Audra Slinky, and I'm president of the Home Staging Resource. I started that mixed media staging and redesign training back in 2006. It's been a lot of years and a wonderful journey. I absolutely work with the best people in the world, and I blog for the National Association of Realtors. I've won a lot of recent Innovator of the Year awards for several years there. I've shared the stage with Sabrina Soto, Vern Yip, Barbara Corcoran. You might recognize some of those names. But the thing that I really love that gets me up every morning is helping people who have a passion and a talent for design, create wonderful businesses, making money doing what they love. And even if they have a current business, making more money absolutely in their field. So if you see any of these logos on any designer and stager's website, these are my people. If any of my people are on the line, you know I get nervous every time I do this. So a little shout out always makes me feel a little bit more comfortable. This is my newest training, the Vacation Design Rental Expert Training. Oops. Uh, so and then it actually won. I was a finalist for a RISA Award of the Year this year. So that was pretty awesome. Out of like 20 something products, we came in top 3. So I was pretty stoked on that. All right, let's jump in. Let's talk Airbnb design, shall we? So when I actually created this training, it doesn't come from a place of necessarily an experience. That's why I got to tell you a little bit about my journey. I actually am an Airbnb host. I have a place. This is a place on a lake, and I have a place in the mountains. And as you can imagine, those are two very different buyer or guest demographics. Um, and Also, one thing I noticed in my business of training, and I have thousands of staging and design members in my membership group, is talking to so many of them. I noticed that so many of their businesses were exploding in this interesting niche of short term rental design, really exploding in the last handful of years, especially after COVID, interestingly. So I interviewed all those top stagers and designers, and I talked to them about what works for their business, what's been successful, and that's when I created that complete course. That's what that course. So it's not just my experience, it's from my membership because I noticed that they were really growing their business in this realm. And it was kind of an exciting niche, if you will, for designers and stagers to enter. So throughout this workshop, I just have to tell you, you're going to see some of their stories, some of their work, examples of what's also inside the training. So when I show you kind of the investment guide that I give my members, and I'm going to show you it all so you get to see it, what I recommend you create and do if you want to get into this industry, it's because that stuff's inside my training. So I always got to let you know. So let's go. Why Airbnb? What is Airbnb? I know you guys know it. You've all stayed in wonderful Airbnbs. It is really the epitome of the sharing economy. It started in 2008, huge growth post COVID. And a lot of you may not know this, but did you know there are 14,000 new Airbnb hosts joining the platform every month? Do you know what that does? It creates a lot of Airbnb competition. Are you noticing that these days? I don't know how many of you guys went on vacations this last summer, Airbnbs, and there's a little bit more Airbnbs available sometimes in our areas than there used to be. That's because there's a lot of new hosts out there. Anyone can be a hotel owner, and Airbnb rentals have grown 1,000% since 2011. How many of you in the chat actually are an Airbnb host or own an Airbnb? I'm just curious. You could just go ahead in the chat and put me. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's a lot of you. Great. The thing that I find interesting about Airbnb, and this is kind of going to be important when we think about how we design them or the design essentials, is that its growth has been propelled, this little statistic, by kind of the younger generation, the millennials. They're really the largest generation in history. And in fact, by 2025, the millennials and the Gen Z, those are my kids, my college kids, will account for 75% of all consumers and travelers. So they'll be the ones with the travel money. Crazy, right? So, what does that mean for us as the designers? That generation represents Airbnb more than ever. And statistically, again, travel is deeply important to this generation. And in fact, they prioritize, according to a survey, a travel over even buying a home a lot of times. And over 80% of them see their travel as true experiences. They want to have the experience. And so, no surprise, over 60% of Airbnb bookings are done by these millennials. So, why is staging so critical? Especially when it comes to really dialing in these Airbnbs. This astronomical growth means there's more competition. It's harder now for hosts to stand out, especially in a crowded marketplace. Like I said, 14,000 new hosts a month on the platform. It's just going to get a little bit more competitive. And it's not enough these days to just simply list your rental. It needs to speak to your target guest demographic. What are they looking for? Um, what will they want to spend on? And it needs to stand out in that crowded marketplace. How many of you in the chat room are a home stager? And does this sound familiar to you? Go ahead and put yeah. Yeah. For stagings back in 2006, people were just slapping their listings on the market. They were not staging. They didn't realize the benefits, the financial benefits they could get by dialing in that home. Well, it's kind of similar with the Airbnb these days. And truly it is, again, like staging, it is all about photos and the description. Uh, Hosts, not surprisingly, will lose money when the property is not occupied. And they can consequently raise their prices when the rental is dialed in, right? It's kind of the law of economics. You improve upon a product, you get a higher demand and a better price. So it is really just simple economics, really similar to staging. I can see a lot of you are stagers, so you really get this. The benefits of staging, good design in Airbnb is an investment in their future earnings. So it's very justifiable. So Why can you rock this? Especially since I can see a lot of your stagers. Well, I've got lots of positives. In these high competitive markets, it's like staging on steroids. Super easy to add. If you are an interior designer and stager, this is a very easy thing to add to your current, what you're doing, because it's very similar to what you're doing. But one of the things I think you're going to love about it is it's business to business. When I talk about marketing, I'll show you why. You're partnering usually with other businesses, so there's more money involved and less emotion. How many of you guys have ever dealt with an emotional homeowner in a design project or an emotional home seller in a staging project? It's not easy, right? Justifiable spending for the host to get superhost designation. They need those good reviews. They do not want anyone to feel like there was a lack of amenity or experience or that it just didn't look good, right? So, similar to the home seller, it's also really hard for these investors, these hosts, to be objective. And frankly, a lot of them are remote. There's a certain amount of homes purchased in your area that go straight to investment Airbnb. That's just across the country. I had a statistic on that and then I forgot it, so I got to redig that up. And a lot of these investors are not local, so they need the boots on the ground. So why can you rock this? There's very few designers and stagers who are actually tackling this growing market. Trust me, I did a lot of research on this. Hardly any of them have just a single page on their website that has good search engine optimization that talks about Airbnb design dedicated to this service. So I'm assuming if you are a designer or stager, you have a service page on your site for each one of your services. Well, very few of these designers, when I did my research and talked to them, even had that. Even rarer are the ones that are actively marketing to business partners. And these partners, by the way, are pretty easy to find, and they're looking for specialists who make them look good. And they actually need you. So it's really a win win for everyone. Here's an example. I love this. We have a private Facebook group in my training, and Holly Jones kind of mentioned how her Airbnb business, who she started about a year and a half ago, has just exploded. She was actually in the middle of working on 12 fully furnished Airbnbs. I honestly don't know how she did that. um, so why did it explode when I asked her? Because she had a page dedicated on her site with good search engine optimization. And also she was just known as the expert in her area. So she's kind of specializing. I love this is another story. Trisha from Noble House Design, this was a partner I wouldn't have even thought. A mortgage group actually contacted her and they want her to handle all of their clients' Airbnbs in Orlando, Florida. She went from a stay at home mom to closing 300 to 350K in revenue in the past 3 years. So I think that's kind of awesome because she's doing what she absolutely loves. And she's doing it the way I recommend, which I'm going to talk to you guys about, where she does the concept board. In the presentation, she gets the buy in, and then she has the finished room. I love this post. This is from Mitch, who does a lot of short-term rentals, and this goes to show you how it's really easy to kind of grow this business. Is he did his latest design is he did a bungalow in Galveston. They helped the investor select all of it was a flipper. So they did all of the fix finishes, the layouts, they staged a listing, and the buyer loved it so much. Guess what? They asked them to design the space for their short term rental. So when I say that you're already, especially if you're a stager in the market, um, they are looking for you. Real estate investors, Airbnb property managers, these are the unemotional people who are actually investing in this kind of business and really your ideal typical target market. And I'm going to talk about how to market to them in just a bit. But let's talk about those of you who are stagers on the line, because this is actually some new slides. And I did a recent blog post on this because I didn't realize that the stagers business model is perfectly positioned to offer this service. Why? Because a lot of you stagers have warehouse space. So it's pretty easy for you to receive product, the logistics. You don't have to necessarily work with a receiver, which a lot of designers do. Um, You already have the trade connections and the relationships in place to go shopping. It is an easy add on service to what you're currently doing. But the other good thing that you can do is you can fill in the gaps. So if you're working on an Airbnb and that coffee table, because you dealt with a supply issue, did not arrive at that Airbnb launch date of, September 1st, guess what? You can pull from your inventory until it does. So you can meet those deadlines with your own inventory and also easily turn over your inventory. Because a lot of times, especially if they're on a really tight budget, they would love to just purchase stuff directly from you and you get more money for it than the way you're turning over your inventory right now. Um, you're marketing the space for guests versus buyers. So you kind of have a mindset advantage because you're used to demographic marketing. I mean, let's be honest, stagers, we're marketers. You already have those agent relationships, and they're usually the first point for real estate investors of contact. And you can easily market yourself. Um, if you know that you're staging a home that very likely will become an Airbnb, this was a hot tip that one of my stagers showed me. He actually, Brian, he put this, he knew it was probably going to be an Airbnb, and he put this flyer in the staged home that he staged and said, the furnishings in this home can support your business opportunity as a vacation rental. Ask us how. That's pretty smart, right? It's great how many great ideas we can come up with when it comes to marketing our business when we're connected. And really, if you are a stager and designer, you probably will be asked to do Airbnb design eventually. If you're on the chat and you are a stager and designer and you kind of got into it because you got asked, you didn't even think of it as a service, go ahead and put that was me, because that's what I was seeing. And that's why I think it's a great person. So you don't want to be that person who called me 2 days ago and was like, oh my God, Audra, I need to get in your training because I have an investor presentation today. I was like, okay, but it's some material that you have to go through. So you want to be able to have that prepped and ready. Because with the right packaging, process, and pricing and marketing, it's really not hard to excel in this niche. There are these wonderful target markets. You already know, obviously, the Airbnb host, but those real estate investors, those Airbnb property managers, and those agents, they understand better that good design means higher prices, occupancy rates. It is an investment for them. So it's a little bit easier to sell than interior design services sometimes, and prospects that are easy to find and market to when you know where to look. Because the thing is, out of the many stagers that I talked to and I interviewed who do this kind of specialty, they were actually not actively marketing to their ideal markets. They weren't having to go out and pound the pavement. They were, once things started going for them, it just went, like Holly, who's doing 12 right now. Yeah, I see some of you guys can say that was me. Uh, the thing that I know for my stagers too, and even for my designers, is you can actually make a bit more money on each project. The projects don't last forever because they have a timeline. My designers love that. You can charge more. And it's really less about budget and it's more about investment, connecting the quality of furnishings with the guest expectation, right? So the ability also for my stagers to find and brand creative spaces. This is actually from my designers too. Both of them said they love to get creative because I don't know if you've been to the Airbnb platform, but you get to name the home. The home gets to do themes. You get to have a little bit more fun with it and in that artistic leeway that I know a lot of you love. So let me show you what I mean by that. Lindsay Machado, she shared this story with me. Her niche is short-term design. She loves that she can do that out of the box and create the experience. Remember, we talked about that's what millennials are looking for. It's that experience. So one experience that she had is she worked with a property owner in Big Bear, and she was able to really spread her wings and do a little bit of craziness. So you'll see this is the before photo. And it was a current Airbnb, and it just wasn't getting the occupancy rates and the pricing they had hoped. Here is the after. So, what do you think will really get people's attention when they're scrolling on Airbnb? And it's okay for you to ooh and ah in the chat room. It's kind of fun, right? Here's the before, and here's the after. Just really cleaning up the space. But one thing she did in this home, which I thought was funny, she created a theme. And the theme was Happy Trees Lodge as an ode to the late great painter Bob Ross. So she included a lot of Bob Ross memorabilia and even a replica painting that she put in the master suite. Here's the before and here's the after. And you can see a little painting is on the left-hand side. So it's just kind of fun and you can see wallpaper. This is a very Instagrammable space. So let's talk about hot tips for Airbnb design. Now that I've given you lots of reasons why this is a very good thing for you and your business if you currently are one, but even if you're not, this I have a lot of people who just get rolling into it. Um, think about photographable spaces. Guests will take pictures. Design for those millennials. Remember, think about that, those experience, and think in layers. And I know you are all design lovers, so I know you know what I mean by that. Consider surprising and delighting the guests by adding unexpected touches because it really is all in the details, kind of like what Lindsay did. Um, Here is an example of Leah Drager. She travels the country doing short-term rental design, and she just did this super fun entryway. Not expensive, but very Instagrammable. And she was originally an Airbnb superhost, and she kind of stumbled into this after taking my training, and it's just blown up. She has traveled to Vegas, Tennessee, New York. She does everything from just providing e-designs and working with people remotely where they can just shop themselves or actually doing the install herself. She absolutely loves it. And no surprise, she has landed contracts with, you guessed it, short-term rental property management companies. That's another one of the people I recommend you target, and builders throughout the country. Here is some of her fun designs. She has admitted to me that she loves that she can get a little crazy and a little maximalist. So here's the before and here is the after. So yes, a little crazy, but you can imagine definitely stand out online. Here's the before and here's the after. And here's the thing, we can all recognize that this is not expensive change in design. It's just eye-catching. And when you think of the guest and what they're looking for, no surprise. Now here's one she did near Disneyland. Can you guess the theme of this room? I don't know how quickly you can see it. But if you look at that mural on the back wall, Peter Pan, yes, little Neverland signs and little trees. It's adorable. Okay, so let's talk about how you can get started. The best way really is you got to go to your own market. Get to know it. You don't need to do remote stuff right away. I always say tackle, there's plenty of work out there. Tackle locally. Search the listings in your area and know search a listing that can house 6 people, 3 bedroom, or maybe, yeah, and maybe 4 bedroom, 8 people, and compare them. What I always say is note the least and most expensive. There's a reason why the least is least and the most is the most. Is the least expensive one selling purely on price? Because that is probably not going to be a place that they want to compete in. And the most expensive is probably selling more on design and value. Those amenities really do matter. Statistically, 97% of travelers are looking for. They want to make sure the places are dialed in, they have all the amenities, but the statistics I found the most interesting was the second choice that most all of those guests thought. And their second choice is that they want thoughtfulness. Second, thoughtfulness. So again, getting back to the experience, a bottle of wine, a bicycle to get around, the beach bag already packed for everything in the sun. So getting back to that, here is an Airbnb design that my friend did. This is a design board that she did the board. And then getting back to the thoughtfulness of the design, you can really see that those concept boards truly give you the vision, right? The concept board exactly showed you kind of what that room would look like. But here's the beach bag ready for them in display and in the photo. So in my training, it I do talk about, so we talk about how to get started. There are 3 phases to the training. In the first phase of the training, it is really all about becoming an expert in that industry, the market itself, because you can't talk the talk to real estate investors, Airbnb property managers without really understanding the industry. So I definitely think that's an important thing to do. Get research in your area, understand what the need is, learning the area. So learn the demographic market that you're designing for and understand the various investment levels that they're looking for. Because the truth of it is, a luxury rental that's asking $1,000 a night, do you think that they produce the type of guest that has an expectation of what kind of furnishings will be in there? Go ahead in the chat and put yes. I'm just- Do you think if I'm paying 1,000 plus a night for like a two-bedroom, do you think I have an expectation that I'm not gonna be sitting on yeah. So one thing that is, again, not just understanding your local demographic, but also it's different than staging in the design, and that you have to know there's a lot of stuff that goes into an Airbnb. You're outfitting a house. So you have to kind of have that list. So we have kind of an inventory checklist. I'm going to send you that as a bonus tomorrow when I send you the email. But basically, I tell my members that they can use that and actually make affiliate income on Amazon and then also on trade streams. So here's the checklist I'm going to send to you in PDF. I give in my training it as a Canva template. If you're not familiar with Canva, Canva lets them change every bit of it, lets them put in their photos, lets them change all their colors, and it's very printable and it's really beautiful, lets them download all the imagery. But one thing I recommend people do is you have your checklist that they need for guests. This is helpful to use as a lead funnel. When I talk about marketing, I'll show you what I mean. But then I have a list of all my favorite Amazon stuff. And in the training, I walk people through taking each one of these products and just changing their affiliate links. So you can easily become an Amazon affiliate. You don't make a ton of money off it, but it's pretty nice every month when I get those checks. It's just an extra way to make money ongoing from recommending great product that is great for your guests. So this is kind of the checklist, and then I have the product. And you know what? There's a lot of rentals that would benefit even from the furnishings. Amazon is crazy these days. I even was shopping for bathtubs. I know some of you do that. Amazon sells everything, right? So I have these kind of full lists and then link to the affiliate where I recommend you can create that yourself. And the most important thing, since this is kind of a lead generation Canva template that I give people in my training, is the closing. The number one mistake that people make is not using a designer for their vacation rental, not using a pro, and then having that call to action. And I tell people just swap out the photos and there you go. So, reminding people to spend on the important stuff, when you're shopping, it's really a high low that you're going to be working through. So, mixing high low for a more luxury look and to save them. To give them return on investment, because it's still very much like staging, where we have to think about putting in some low stuff in there, but measuring that so it all looks good. You will be wanting to buy high performance fabric couches, ideally slip covered, because they're not going to want to have to replace those every couple years, right? They look good, they're comfortable. That's luxe, sturdy furniture. A lot of mistakes I saw the Airbnb designers told me they made in the beginning was buying assembled furniture. You go Wayfair or Amazon, that's stuff that now you're taking time to assemble it, when it probably would have been better off for the client to just purchase a trade item that was fully assembled before paying you to assemble it, or an assembly person, and buying that outfit, that item. So you got to be thinking about those things. You got to think about longevity, because your investors do not want to deal with a broken coffee table. I mean, half of them, like I said, will not even be in that location. So they want to make sure that that furnishings will last. Go luxe on the bedding. Everybody wants soft bedding. Splurge on statement pieces like art. That's kind of timeless and will stick around. And areas that you can save: pillows, decor, rugs, because you'll be replacing those, and even kitchen stocking items. That's why I have my Amazon list of my favorite kitchen stocking items. I always say use Amazon, because when 5 of those coffee cups get broken, they can easily buy another 6, using the same links that you gave them. So it just makes it easy for them to replenish. Does this all make sense in the chat? Go ahead and put yes. Hopefully I'm giving you some quick hot tips. I also recommend Amazon for bedding basics. You've got to cover mattress covers, pillow covers, um, that sort of stuff. It's very good. All right. So let's talk about how you get started as a design and stager, or even as a person enthusiast who just wants to get into it. You got to know your design numbers. You got to know, because you're shopping for the space, and you want to know if that couch's arm is 36 inches. You got to make sure the table next to it is up or down 2 inches. So you have to know that. You have to be able to do those quick floor plans. What I recommend as you guys all know, is I love, shopping trade. You want to know when to shop trade, the best sources for quick purchasing, uh, incorporating trade product, mixing it in with the other stuff in your e-design and concept board. So I recommend doing the client presentation with the e-design concept board, getting the sign off, and then away you go. It's so much easier and efficient to have that plan and a board, a visual that you can see. It's easier to upsell those items, especially clients that were on a budget, and it's much easier for client communication, but more so, it absolutely builds client trust. In the second phase of my training, I go over this in a lot of detail. So if you don't know all that stuff, like how to shop trade, where to shop trade, best sources, design rules, shopping guides, I have all of that. In that section, expanding, doing e-design, using the concept boards, it's all in there. So I love this story, and I actually shared this on my blog post. So if you do want to see more photos of how he used boards to the vision, you can. I'm just going to show you a couple. But Mitch had another agent who contacted him for a vacation, and this was his client presentation. So this is an example of a really good client presentation concept board for the kids' bunk room. He puts his logo, mentions the room. He's got all the pieces here, and client says, go for it, right? There's the after. So you can see that the client is given a very true vision to what it's going to look like. And of course, the after is even a little bit better, but they're given enough of a vision. Here's the concept board for the primary bedroom after. So it's a very trusting built. That investor's not going to nitpick, not going to ask what does each item cost, that sort of thing. It's yes, that I love it. That's within our budget. Let's go. By the way, Mitch made $20,000 in profit on that one Airbnb project. So when I say that there's money to be made, there definitely is over and above staging, if you do staging even. So how do I recommend you do this? You want to align the service similarly to your other design services. If you're a designer or stager, why reinvent? And I know already a lot of you already do concept boards, you do presentations, but you've got to kind of, give that vision and then understand that speed and efficiency is critical. So it is a combination of staging, a little different than design, because the more that place sits vacant, the less money they're making. So you also want to have an onboarding process that breeds professionalism, expertise, and credibility. You want to speak to the client's benefits and the successful result. And hopefully you do this. Do any of you guys do this on your staging service pages, your design service pages? Go ahead and put yes or no, where you actually speak to what are the ultimate results of working with you, because that is kind of what clients need to know. And in phase 3, and this is kind of the biggest section of my training, I walk people through kind of what I call it my signature system for success. And it is processed, streamlined, premium design packages, priced packaging, and then marketing. I'm going to show you what I mean. Here's an example. Here is, the 7-stage success path for what I call optimal vacation design. Starts with probably a contact form, with online. They found your website page. Then they get to see my investment guide, which details my pricing and total pricing transparency. Then they schedule a call where we can discuss their project, and then an in-person consultation, which leads to the client presentation, that design plan where you saw those concept boards, which leads to the order and the install, and finally, the in-demand rental, better occupancy rates, higher nightly prices, and repeat rave guests. So I love this, and in my training, I have this as a Canva template that people can change if they add an extra step, but I think that's a perfect step. So let me show you what I recommend. You can create this kind of form on your site. You can use HoneyBook or whatever you use, but this is about professionalism all the way through. Client finds my page for Airbnb design. And I say, if you want to know my pricing and get a quote, kind of we can build a quote for you. Of course, I'm always going to have the click here to schedule a discovery call, because if they want to call me, I'm game. But it's, what design project are you looking for? There it is, my short-term rental. And then it leads them to getting my design investment guide. Now, by the way, in my training, I give this as a Canva template again to my members. I'm showing you full transparency what it looks like. You could make this on your own if you want. And how I recommend you structure an investment guide for Airbnb design, obviously similar to your other design services. First, you're selling them on the benefits of good Airbnb design, statistics, and then you sell them on you, because you can't forget that. You've got to personalize it. I see too many designers and stagers sites that are not personalized enough, because ultimately you are the brand. They are buying your talent and your team if you have one. Obviously your portfolio, that is critical. And then the design difference. What makes you better? Why would they choose you over someone else? I recommend, of course, package pricing transparency, understanding the market. We're specialists, cost efficiency, the time that it saves, saving the money, the sourcing, minimizing the sourcing overwhelms. There's actually so many benefits. And I just did a blog post yesterday listing more benefits if you are a stager, so you could even speak to that. Oh, you guys are asking questions in the chat. Please save them, save them, save them for the end, and I'll walk you through. But all those things, and then of course the statistical benefits of Airbnb design, which I have. And then in my investment guide, I actually speak to each one of your potential clients. So who is it? I just purchased a vacation rental. I need advice for renovations. Yep, I can help you. I have an existing furnished rental. I need higher rates. Yes, I can help you. I have an unfurnished rental, so I speak to it and then I talk about the service that would best fit them, and then I walk them into my pricing. So I've really kind of walked through that, and then I end with some frequently asked questions. And really, again, these are questions. Your FAQ should always be eliminating any sort of objections that they have. That's what FAQs are for, eliminating objections. Why do I need good design? How much does it cost? How long does it take? Letting them know this. So I need to know in the chat, do you think by the time they schedule a discovery call after getting all of that from me, do you think I need to sell myself in the discovery call with this kind of pre-qualifying? Do you think I need to be salesy? Go ahead, put yes or no. No, I don't. Imagine only spending time on the phone with the qualified prospects who know my process, your process. They know your pricing, and they're your ideal clients. How would that feel to not have to sell, but instead explore? We get to explore their project, not sell it. By the time they get to that call, and in my training, I have kind of the discovery call sheet, what to ask. By the time they get there, all of um, their objections are eliminated. So where do I see people going wrong on this? I don't mean to be negative, but because I'm walking people through it. And again, save your questions. A lot of times I see designers and stagers, and this is what I do in all my training. It's all my trainings, whether it's staging, color, e-design, it's really there so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's giving you all those tools, the copy and paste email follow-up, everything, so that you look great and you're not doing all that yourself. So I see people, they don't have a credible or specific process in place, and they lose clients, in the gaps in the meantime. Um, and they don't sometimes understand that this is a unique market. This is a specialty service. So you've got to kind of capitalize on that and speak to your target markets, your guest markets needs. And I also see that this is a mistake that we all make sometimes when it comes to design or staging our services, not educating on product costs and the benefits of quality over cost. So, how many of you in the chat have worked with clients who say they want a restoration hardware look, but they really have a Walmart budget? If that's happened to you, go ahead and put yes. And I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of them. Yeah. Because the truth is, it's really not their fault. A lot of them don't realize that items add up. And as stagers and designers, we do, because we're shopping all the time, but they don't realize it. So in my training, I have a spreadsheet for my designers. And this is a spreadsheet that that it was translated into what we created as a Canva template, the furniture and decor budget guide. And this is something that once they get the investment guide, They then get this furniture and budget guide, and it's educating them on the cost of furnishings. So they know in a living room, we're going to need, sofa, a couple chairs, a rug. They can add it all, and it tells them you can get a decent one at IKEA, Amazon, Target, Wayfair, a little bit better quality at your local furniture store, again, not going assembly. And then even better than that, Pottery Barn, CB2, trade sources that you have access to. So it's really just about educating them on that budget guide. And of course, this is a Canva template that all my members get to, it's a sales tool, again, where they get to put in all their own coloring and all their own designs, and it can be completely edited. But that, I think, is an important step in the process to helping clients understand the relationship between budget, guest expectation, furnishing quality, and rental price. Getting back to, do you think that $1,000 a night guest has an expectation with the type of furnishings that place is going to have? Yes. So a lot of tunes, another area that we go wrong in is we don't understand there's not a lot of competition. There's not a lot of designers really specializing in this, stagers specializing in this market. So you can raise your prices. I ran into a lot of my stagers who were just pricing it like a staging job, thinking that there was tons of competition, and there's not. Or educating, another mistake people make is educating on timeline. This is a Canva template that I have, and it also is here to educate you. There is a timeline to a full Airbnb concierge, order install, from property assessment to sourcing from your list, your vendors, to the client presentation, sign off, and then ordering and install. There's definitely a timeline. It's different than the staging one. It's different than the design one because it has to be even faster. So educating them on that. All right, let's talk about marketing. I'm sure you know this already. Target those real estate investors, those Airbnb property managers. These are repeat markets. So similar to staging, like where you partner with agents, you can have these beautiful partnerships and create a systemized approach that gives them something of value, and builds your credibility, like the budget guide I just showed you, or the host essentials list. And that's why I have these things in the training for people. They can create them, they can edit them to their heart's content, and then they can use it as a lead generator. And I'll show you how they do that. So those are the three huge Canva template guides that we give them that they can completely edit. Here's an example of an easy way to lead generate using the inventory guide, which I showed you, the essentials list. Here's my Facebook ad. I actually run an ad for this. I get clicks every day for this. People want their downloads. And for you, you can location target your Facebook ads. A lot of people, a lot of designers and stagers, they just have not been doing Facebook ads correctly. And I kind of walk people through this a little bit in the training. You've got a location target, but you have to have a plan for once they give you their email, and to get that goodie, to build your credibility. You have to have that email follow up. And it takes usually 7 touches before someone becomes a fan. So I have it in the training, a copy and paste email sequence for almost every target market, because you have to speak to their pain. Can we all agree in the chat room that a real estate investor has a different pain point than an Airbnb property manager, right? In the chat, yes or no? The Airbnb property manager has people complaining because their place isn't getting rented. What do I do? The real estate investor is like, just bought a place and it's sitting vacant because it's not getting turned over. It's just taking forever. Different pains. We got to speak to them when we market. And then the beauty of Facebook, which I love, is you could run a retargeting ad. So once they went to your website, got that goodie, you can retarget them over and over again with your services as they're getting your email sequence. And the thing about Facebook is you can, it's called ROA. Let's say if you spent in the chat $200 on Facebook ads a month and it gave you over $10,000 in business, do you think that would be a measurable return on investment? Do you think that'd be worth it to you? You can go ahead and put, yeah. And did you know there are even another way to market? There are Airbnb websites, and associations filled with your target markets that are really easy to contact and take part in. People join my training and they're always surprised at how easy it comes, some of the marketing for them once they decide to specialize. So create that process, have that back end for contacting, follow up, providing that value. Because that intentional marketing system, here's the thing, you're going to get busy. You're not going to want to be hitting the pavement, contacting people on your own. You have to make it automated because we are paid according to our time. So we need it automated. Onboarding, the onboarding process I listed weeds out the budget clients. You're not wasting time on the phone with a client that truly is your Walmart budget who cannot afford your good design. Your hosts will be wowed by you. And instead of selling, like I said, you're exploring, because ultimately, confidence comes from knowledge. So, investing in your learning will inevitably lead to more confidence and more process and packaging and things done right. So, that leads me to my offer to you. I'm having a till Friday at midnight, a special on my training course. You got a glimpse of some of the stuff. Basically, it's online, it's at your own pace, it's 3 days. It's coupon code Airbnb. There's the link. Sophie's putting the link in the chat. It'll open up in a separate window. Don't worry, you're not going to lose me. So I can get to your questions at the end of this. Um, but it's a 48 hours. So I do these maybe, well, there won't be another one until next year. Anyway, um, so all you need to do is when you go to that link is just put in, you get the $50 discount, so the total is only $5.99 instead of $6.49, so it's a pretty huge discount. And there's the coupon code. It's right below because people always ask, where do I put the coupon? Right below that amount when you place your order. If this is timed for you, if because if you want to, in 3 days, add this lucrative service to your existing business or start a business doing it, it's a 3-day training. You can get through it in 3 days. You can have it, it's copy and paste. You can have it up on your website, that separate page, to give you the confidence to walk you through the pricing, exactly how to process this. I have a private Facebook group. You saw a couple posts from that. So, great group of people already doing this and complete support. Um, Mila, it's the short-term rental stylist course. She had a question. Is probably a competitor of mine, so you've seen. I'm showing you exactly what's in my course, so you can kind of go to their site and compare it. There are other courses out there that do this, but I don't think there's any like mine that give you the Canva templates, the copy and paste, because my goal is that you're never reinventing. It's online. You can always refer back to it. You have a year to get through it, membership. And like I said, I give you the copy and paste. I give you those gorgeous Canva templates. I haven't seen very many trainers do that. But again, you guys can shop around so that you can literally launch the service in 3 days. And here's a glimpse of all of the goodies that you get. There's a lot. Um, and I also, here's the secret to a lot of this success. It's my signature system. I know how to package and price this so that you make a lot of money. Different, and it should be very different than kind of what you're already doing. I know how to help you set up that automated marketing system that will fuel the right kind of leads. And it really is about not reinventing. Jennifer, who's never been a client of mine, I don't think in the past, she signed up for my training and I love it. She told me, oh my gosh, this course far exceeded my expectations. I am blown away at the knowledge, insight, and tools that you have shared. I am so grateful. It's going to move my business in a whole new direction. The course was absolutely invaluable. I am beyond excited to get going in this service. In fact, I believe that this is going to be my primary focus. I kind of loved it. She's totally repivoting her business and so sweet. Uh, so I mentioned it's 9 modules. A lot of you guys asked about that. It's 3 phases. And I think all those phases are super critical for you to have the confidence and move forward and to be able to offer this to clients. Sarah Lucas said that she absolutely loved the course. She's taken some of my other courses. She's like, one of the things I love about taking your courses is how you break it into chunks. And I do. And it's kind of that never reinvent. So she never felt overwhelmed. She's able to digest the bite-sized chunks. It's similar to this hour of training that I just did with you. But I'm giving you all the forms, the downloads, the contracts. And it's just copy and paste ready for you to go. It was worth the wait. I love it. She had been waiting for me to release this course. Um, Ginger had a good question. She said, She does not have any formal design experience. Without design credentials, will people take me seriously? Well, Ginger, you saw my process that I give you in the Canva templates. You really, we're always going to be refining our design skills. And I do have people who don't have any formal experience. I mean, all of my stagers pretty much had no formal interior design experience when they took my staging training. And then most all the award winners are usually from my training. It's pretty cool, a lot of them. So you can do it. If you have that passion in design and you love design, absolutely. Somebody asked, do you happen to have statistics on the return on investment? Yeah, I do have statistics inside the training. Those are always changing, but it's kind of, it's a lot of, like I said, a no-brainer on the economics, um, but they are in there. For those of you who can't afford it, is it possible to still get the business started? Well, that's why I opened Aegea. Hopefully this got you thinking, rolling in the right direction. And absolutely, you could spend a long, long time trying to get all those ducks in a row, because it took me literally, you saw Sarah, she had waited years for me to release this training. It took me years to get it all going and all those dialed in and the right process and the right pricing, the packaging. But I get it, because we all have our budgets. So of course. I love it. Teresa said, thank you, Audra. I get to wake up every day thankful and grateful to do what I, all cap, love to do. Home staging, color consults, e-design, they've all played a major part in helping me grow my short-term rental business. Your course is crazy good. It's overflowing with just the right information to get you up and running in no time. And that is really the point, because I wanted it to be quick and efficient for people. It's 3 days tied up to your business so you can quickly do it. Yes, Anna, it gives you the contract. It gives you the contract for this service. Again, this is for Airbnb. So it's a separate contract for that service. I give you an example. Um, yes, Laura, it's all on your own time at your own fingertips. And I think that's important, because then you can always refer back to it. And then my Facebook group, we have a lot of activity discussion going on at any given time. Cindy said she's taking my e-design course. I know, right? It's so good. So Cindy, it is a perfect course to e-design. A lot of my people on both those courses are doing it because it's about creating that perfect client presentation, and you can even do remote design with e-design. Mickey said, you're considering adding it to your business, but you'll not jump in without your training. I know. You would spin your wheels. I mean, this is my goal, is I would not want you. This is what people tell me after trying to do everything free, the Facebook free, looking up information for months, and also getting the wrong guidance. I have been training designers and stagers for 20 years. I have been training people who are in this, and it's not just, like I said, me. I have my fingers on the pulse of the industry. So I'm able to evolve the training. I'm able to add to it. I'm able to flex it when things change. I can change it with it. It is work at your own schedule. Yes, I do, Dia, go over the logistics of working with clients all over the country. I recommend you start locally, but absolutely I do in some of that. Is the design experience necessary? No, you just have to have that eye. And a lot of Airbnb hosts try and design their own places just on their own without the eye for design. Marianne, you have an Airbnb in Bahamas. How does it work remotely? Well, that would be where you do the design plan concept board and they have everything shipped to the location. Oops. All right, to recap, 48-hour special. So I don't do these very often, but sometimes I know for some people that $50, that's what it, to jump on this. You'll love the training. Oh, I have a 72-hour no questions asked guarantee. On all of my trainings, because I have never had anyone not like this training. People love it. And any other questions? The workshop replay, I'm going to send the replay. I never send my presentations out, but I will give you the replay link so you can jump back in. I'm going to send you the email link with the coupon code so you have that. Alicia says, what all do you truly need as a new home stager to get your business started? Contract, website, etc. Alicia, yeah, I mean, you're starting a new business. If you're looking to just start a business for fresh and you want to create a foundation for success, I can't recommend enough my staging training. That is your foundation. That is a 3-week course. So when I say there's a huge difference between a 3-week course and a 3-day add-on service, There is. It's a course foundation for your absolute success. That's why so many of my graduates are award-winning stagers across the country and have been for years. Uh, Let's see. So just signed up. Kelly, welcome. Oh my gosh. The moment you sign up, you get right in. And it is the perfect addition to your staging services. I hope you can definitely see that. And it makes you actually perfectly positioned. So don't forget to position yourself. I'm actually going to go back through some of our forms that are in that training for my stagers and add a Canva template for this is why I'm even better, because they have the warehouse, the inventory, all of that. The price for the 3-week course, Alicia, actually, I'm doing a workshop on that next month, how to quit your day job and start a staging business. It is, I think, $12.97. Sophie, I'm so bad at all my pricing. Oh, good, signed up. Rebecca, welcome. Uh, Karen, the link, go to homestagingresource.com and you'll see all my courses on there. From my staging to my e-design to my color. My staging is my big daddy. It's my 3-week, it's my foundational. So for those of you who just want to get into staging and redesign and just how do you do a foundation business for success? What does all that look like? It's that. And then that's why so many of my stagers, I created the Airbnb because so many of my stagers are like, Audra, like Sarah, please create this. I want to add this service. This has been wonderful. Oh, thank you, Star. You're so sweet. Great. Oh, actually, Sophie added the link. So if you are interested in the staging training, there is the full information on that. Any other questions on the Airbnb design training? You guys were wonderful. Oh, and I actually kept it to under an hour. Oh my gosh. Cheers to you guys. Cheers to your goals, your dreams, your passions. If you're on this and you're just feeling a little creatively stuck, I hope this kind of got you rolling. This is the fun stuff in life, right? Really doing what we love, what we're passionate about. And ideally making good money at it. So cheers to you, cheers to your businesses, staging and design. And hopefully, I will be working with some of you very soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your night. Good night, and thank you.